Jaguars Digital. Jaguars Digital. Jaguars Drive Time. Brian Sexton, John Oehser, Ashlyn Sullivan. Jaguars Drive Time starts right now.
Good morning. Happy day after Thanksgiving. Is that a thing?
Yes.
Kind of is, isn't it?
And it's today.
Yep. Well, thank you for bringing that up.
You're welcome.
We were wondering about that. Ashlyn Sullivan, John Oehser, I'm Brian Sexton. We're here with you for Jags Drive Time on a Friday morning, brought to you by Fields Auto Group. Got to get that right.
There it is.
Well, I get them confused from time to time. How are you?
Smartphone. It hasn't gotten old yet.
Let's start with our poll, because I'm sure that people are going to get up and turn this on and wonder how everyone else feels. So our Drive Time poll is, how much did you eat on Thanksgiving? Right there, you see it. I'm hurting this morning. I'm the you'd like to be today. In other words, there's somebody out there that didn't eat anything. Winter is coming. You get that?
What does that mean?
Putting on the pounds, man. There are some people
Bulking
out there
up
this morning that are thinking, you know what? I'm going to bulk up, get ready for winter.
Bulking season.
Hibernation season, right. It's also a Game of Thrones reference. And finally, other. How you feeling this morning after a big Thanksgiving day? How about you, Johnny? How are you this morning?
This is the worst day of the year.
Oh, that's
Far and away
optimistic
the
of
worst day of
you.
the year.
Why, because you miss Black Friday shopping?
No, because my wife is Black Friday shopping.
Oh. I
Without
thought
you.
you were kind of a
It's-
Black Friday shopper.
All I can feel is just body blows and blows to the head.
She's already out shopping?
Oh, she's been out since like 4:30.
Wheard she go?
I don't know.
4:30? Well, she was
Yeah.
late then. She got caught.
Kohl's. I mean, it's not high end stuff. It's just the incessant volume of like.
Does your
I have a
phone...
little Bank of America app
I
on my
was
phone.
just
where
about to ask. If
Oh,
it was
it's active.
notification.
it's not notification, but I check it and it's
Oh, God.
yeah, it's so if I'm distracted today, you guys go ahead and ask Doug the questions you need to. I'll be over here.
So is Sherry the opposite of John? In other words, John watches every penny and not so much with Sherry?
Oh, she's
She's not thrifty?
she doesn't spend big, but you have to remember anything is a lot.
You're
Compared to
really
you.
cheap.
so it's fine.
You had some time with
I did.
the family, a couple
Mean
hours.
Gene.
Mean Gene.
All right.
And Rose.
And the dog.
And the dog, yes. Blue.
And the dog was the one you wanted to see the most.
Always.
And everybody that
Rightfully
was
so.
with you knows that.
Yes,
Okay.
he's the love of my life. My dog. That's all I need in my life. Right, John?
Yes.
Yes.
She's not sending subversive messages this morning. It's pretty overt. The dog is most important.
As it should be.
Okay. So we
What
got the
kind of
poll out
dog?
of the way.
Great Dane. His
Ah.
name's Blue. I'll show you a picture later on.
See, growing up, I just had a Dane. Wasn't that great?
Lovely. Is that why you're
That's
not big
terrible.
on the Dutch?
That's a terrible dad joke.
All right, here we go. Let's look at big things, shall we?
Yes, big thing one is the next six. Looking at the remaining of the season, Bills, Colts, Titans, Redskins, Dolphins, and Texans. Roster-wise, this is probably your best chance to win a game. To go to Buffalo and come home with a win, you should match up well against this team. Obviously, we can't predict much, but looking at the rest of the season, this is the game that stands out.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll win more than one.
Yeah.
But this is a game. Rookie quarterback factor. I think Josh Allen will play. That's what stands out. And you have a defense that's very, very good, and you're playing a rookie quarterback. The matchup is there. I don't say it's a given, but when you're listing things that usually factor in teams' favor in this league, that's a big one. Rookie quarterback making his first start since week 6.
It's October 14th.
Things tilt the table in this league. That's one of the biggest table tilters.
One thing you've got going here over the final 6 games, and for a team that's not in the playoff chase, generally you're looking for things to motivate you. You've got 3 games against the division, right? You've got a game against the Colts, and you think you should have beat the Colts. If Rashad Green doesn't fumble, you probably do beat the Colts. You go to Tennessee for a primetime game, and then you finish in Houston, and they'll probably be the division title winner by that point, and you are the defending division title. So there's 3 games with built-in motivation. You've got Miami down the road, and Miami is competing at this point, but Jacksonville, Miami's kind of been a little thing. It's more of a thing to those of us who've been around all these years, because when the Jaguars first came to play, you remember Darren from Miami that was a routine caller to every radio show in Jacksonville back in the early days? Do you?
I don't, but I remember Rhino getting 3 in the preseason.
I'm just telling you, there were so many people that were upset that the Jaguars were on TV every Sunday and the Dolphins, the team that had always been shown here in Jacksonville, were not. So there were Dolphins fans that were upset. More than that, there were a lot of people in Orlando that were used to seeing the Dolphins that didn't get to see them anymore because of the way that they showed the Jaguars game. So there's always been a little rub there. So, I look at, there's 5 games with a lot. Redskins, whatever. But you've got a lot of games with motivation here.
Well, and you've got 5 teams, aside from the Bills, who are all, you would think, going to be in it. Maybe the Texans have clinched by then. But it makes the schedule particularly tough, I think, because 5 of your 6 opponents have a good chance to be playing for the playoffs. So nothing's ever handed to you, but certainly on this schedule, nothing will be.
All right, big thing 2.
Big thing 2 is let's go to Buffalo. We saw last year in the wild card game how crazy this fan base is with their burning tables and such. It's going to be a tough place to play. It's loud. It's exciting. We saw it last year.
I don't get the jumping on tables thing.
I do that every Friday. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're 23.
Yeah.
You don't do your
this
table
morning,
either.
I did it. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, in the morning's a little different. So it's, yeah.
Right.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, they're nuts. And, argument could be made they were a little too nuts at times last year, but that's
I told you guys this the
water
other
under
day.
the hard bridge.
Lasting memory of Buffalo, the first trip to Buffalo, December 1996 for the wild card playoff game. Bus pulls up. It's bus 5. I mean, there's no players on it at all, no coaches on it at all. And there's a huge mound of snow behind the stadium, the tunnel where the buses pull up. And there's 30, 40, 50 people. I mean, the number doesn't matter. Men and women. And simultaneously, all of them turn and drop their pants in a salute to the Jaguars. And I thought, this place is going to be nuts today. And it was, because the Bills got out to an early lead, and then the Jaguars came back, won that ball game, ended Jim Kelly's career. First playoff win by an outside team at Rich Stadium. It was Rich Stadium back then. It is a very difficult place to play. People there love it. They love the Bills. They line up for it. I'm hoping for a great atmosphere on Sunday.
Yeah, it usually is there, even when the Bills are out of it, which they're pretty close to out of it. I can remember going there when I was with the Colts 2 or 3, probably 2 times. The Bills were okay, but even late in the season, when they're just okay, there's still an energy to that fan base.
It's their team.
It's impressive.
You bet. Absolutely. All right, big thing 3.
Big thing 3 is something to prove. We all picked a player this week who has a lot to prove this week coming off a game against the Steelers. John, who you got?
I believe I went with Blake Bortles, which is sort of obvious. I mean, it's I have no idea what the end game in terms of the offseason is. I have no idea what the end game in terms of him finishing the season as a starter. I think he will. But when you're in his position, it's such a week-to-week league that, as you mentioned a couple of times this week, Brian, it's easy to forget that he played well enough for this team to win really 2 weeks in a row, but particularly against the Indianapolis Colts. Hasn't been playing that poorly of late. Didn't play well the other day. So obviously a lot to prove. If he comes out and throws for 28 of 30 for 400 yards, I don't know what's going to prove to the fan base who already don't like him.
Sure.
But it would at least quiet the noise for a week.
Well, to tack on to that, you had that obscene Monday night game, right? And all of a sudden, it was as if, well, you can't possibly win with Blake Bortles in the National Football League when you've got teams combining for more than 100 points, 1,000 yards, 2 quarterbacks with 10 passing touchdowns. I mean, people threw their hands up. There's just no way.
Right. Never mind that you won 12 last year.
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
Come on. It's just, it's yes. So does he have something to prove? Yes. Not to me, right? But I think he has something to prove in general that he can play in this league.
Sure.
To this fan base also,
right.
For sure. All right, my something to prove is Jalen Ramsey. Coming off a huge game last week. 2 interceptions, 8 tackles. And then before that, against the Colts, one of the worst games of his career we talked about.
So in the span of 10 days, 2 weeks, he's had his worst game and then maybe his best game.
Right. So he has a ton to prove to can play at a consistent level for the Pro Bowl. I think he's also at a very interesting point in his career right now in the locker room. The past few weeks, he's had great press conferences, has been honest with us, has been open. I'm curious to see how the rest of the season plays out for Jalen, if he keeps performing at the level we saw last week.
I said this to somebody in the locker room, maybe it was you, John, that the last 3 times that Jalen has spoken with the media, I thought that it's been a big step forward. Not that he isn't entertaining and candid, but he was even keeled, right? Like a leader is. I mean, I don't want to say he's like Calais because he's not Calais, but the last 3 times I thought I'm getting something from this that is Calais-like, something steady. It's almost as if somebody said, you can't be this way.
Right.
And you're a leader, and if you want to get paid and be that guy, you need to act that way. He, to me, became a go-to guy in terms of some substance, not just style in the locker room, and I like that.
Yeah, honesty.
Yeah, we'll see. My guess is with Jalen, there will be some waves.
Yeah, you got to have that with him.
Some ups and downs. But my guess is also that as he goes through his career, and we watch these things in real time, so it's sometimes hard to provide immediate perspective. But my guess is the waves will be like this, and he'll get progressively better in that role. Right. It's not an easy role if it doesn't come naturally to you to be a leader and a spokesman. It's not somebody everybody wants to embrace. No. But it does seem as if he's going a little bit in this direction.
And he can do it.
Sure.
Can.
We've seen him do
with
it.
him, it's just a desire issue, and it appears that maybe he desires that. Okay, mine's Marcell Dareus, and not because he hasn't played to a high level this year. He absolutely has. And I know he's on the injury report this week, has been with the chest and the back, and my guess is, though, that he's got something to play for, and obviously returning to Buffalo. He's got an $11 million or nearly $11 million cap figure next year, right? So as you start evaluating this roster and the salary cap and going forward, you have something to prove every time you step out on the field. But when you have that big of a number, you really have to prove it, especially down the road here this season where you're talking about games that maybe not counting towards playoff, right? Where you need the motivation. So I think he's got something to prove, both to this team and to the folks in Buffalo. And I'm excited to watch him play on Sunday because I think he's ready to prove it. He has had a tremendous season. He is really... Yep. People don't see it because they don't focus on those guys on the inside. It's not all about stats. But if you watch on a play or two, you see a guy who utterly dominates anyone in front of him.
Well, you talked about the $11 million figure, Brian. I think he's back next year because I think he has done a rare thing in this league, which is to be traded to a franchise and become a core player.
Right.
And that would have seemed absurd last year when he was first traded because you assumed that he was a rental player. That's what it smelled like. That's what you automatically put into that category. He's still young. If you watch him and you look at him, I always said of Tony Baselli when I watched him, he was put on this earth to play left tackle. He didn't have to change his body type. He didn't have to add weight necessarily. He was put on this earth to do that, and he was a great left tackle. When you look at Marcell Dareus, the way he moves easily, what he does, he was put on this earth to play the position, and he's still playing it at a high level.
All right. That'll do it for the A block. We come back, coffee with the coach. Doug Marrone is in the other room about to make his way to us, and we'll chat with him about Sunday's game in Buffalo. Big high school football game tonight, maybe a little Thanksgiving, and where to get great wings in Greater Buffalo. All that and more on a Friday morning, brought to you by the Fields Auto Group. Back after this.
Jaguars fans, Ashlyn Home Store is where you'll find the perfect Tempur-Pedic mattress to power your life. As the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in America and the official furniture and mattress store of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ashlyn Home Store offers Jaguars fans special pricing and 72 months no-interest financing. Just tell them the Jaguars sent you. Plus, a portion of every mattress sold helps provide free beds to local children in need. Shop for Tempur-Pedic at Ashlyn Home Store today and go Jaguars. Subject to credit approval. See store for details.
Only in Jacksonville can you tour a state-of-the-art hospitality show home before a game. Hi, this is Lauren Brooks. Make it a point to visit the Dreamfinders Home's newest stadium home before any home Jaguars game. Take a free tour and register for a chance to win amazing grand prizes. Dreamfinders Homes will select one winner per home game. Only at Dreamfinders Homes Stadium Home 2.0 by Gate 4 at TIAA Bank Field. Dreamfinders Homes, homes built to fit your lifestyle.
On the road, there's a thin line between safety and tragedy. Don't cross it. Give law enforcement, first responders, and service professionals the space to safely do their jobs. When you see flashing lights, move over a lane or slow down 20 miles per hour below the posted speed limit. See lights? Move over, Florida. Brought to you by the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles and the Florida Highway Patrol.
Good morning. Welcome back, Jags Drive Time. Coffee with the Coach, brought to you by our friends at Maxwell House. Brian Sexton, Ashlyn Sullivan, John Oehser. You all know head coach Doug Marrone. Before we get too far down the road, how was Thanksgiving?
Good.
It's that rare day away from football during the season, Thanksgiving Day.
Yes.
Did you truly
for
step
me,
away from it?
Yeah. My wife took the girls. They're up in Tennessee. They're coming back today, and then it was just my son and I because he had practice yesterday.
Love it.
You go to practice?
Practice.
That's fun.
Yeah, they had a practice. They're getting ready for a big game tonight, so it was good. So we went off the reservation a little bit, and I got to play nutritionist and weight coach, and all right, you got to eat this, we got to eat that, you got to get yourself ready. This is the meal you're going to be playing on. So it was good.
What'd you eat?
Oh, we had a pasta late, and then obviously protein, steak, so we stayed away from the stuff that was going to get us tired. Wanted to make sure that we got a lot of, a lot of water, a lot of hydration, and that was about it.
Did you go to practice?
Yes.
Right. When you go to a practice, I was in your position, do you just sort of stay out of the way? Obviously, you're not coaching, but do you just? Yeah,
honestly, right now, it's just a point where you're constantly thinking about, your own team.
Gotcha.
When you're not playing well. So, everyone's like, hey, did you have a good day? Did you get away? You never get away when you're not winning football games.
So what do you think? Are they ready for tonight? Bowles and Trinity? Bowles ready?
I hope so. If they're not, they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to play, and they've showed up the last couple of weeks and had some big games. So, I'm happy for them. Those guys have stuck. Those kids have stuck through it. They've worked hard, to get to where they are now. And, as long as you play, you always have an opportunity. And that's the great part about football.
Obvious question, your team in a tough spot. How'd they respond this week? Have you liked what you've seen?
Yeah, I was, I was encouraged, obviously when you play a game like we did last week. I thought they really came back and, the mindset of, hey, listen, we just got to go win a football game. We got to put it all together. I was encouraged. I was encouraged by that because, you want to make sure you have that. And, but I always say this, at the end of the day, it's really based on your performance on Sunday. And, there's a lot of things that go into that during the week. And you see it so many different ways of how teams respond to it. But, the best way is to practice well during the week, which gains confidence. You get excited about the game plan. You get excited about your teammates that are going to be able to make plays in certain situations. And then, you visualize yourself doing that, and you go out there on Sunday and be able to perform. I know that, that's something that I remember, when I was with New Orleans, that's something that Breeze would say, all the time. And, it was funny. I just heard him saying that the other day, and I think that's what makes it, exciting. And that's why winning is the most important thing.
It just seems, and I know it's never as simple as it seems, but the last two games have been about somebody making a play. You could talk about running the ball, and Bortles had a very efficient game in Indianapolis, and the defense, the way that they played for most of the game last week. If somebody makes a play in each one of the games, you win. You're just a play away, right? The last couple of weeks. Does that give you some encouragement for the way that this team is coming back?
The last four games, really. You look at, your, whether you want to say a play. And the one thing about football is that you never know really when that play is going to occur. And that's why you have to be ready for it. At the end of the day, I think from the outside perspective, it's easy to look and say, well, you know what, that's encouraging. But we didn't plan on being where we are right now. So, that's what makes it difficult. And, to say, hey, it's a lot of adversity. No, they're hanging together or they're practicing well or that really doesn't mean anything, in what our goal is. And our goal is to win football games. And, we haven't done that in a long time, and it stinks. It's a shitty taste in your mouth. You can't everything that you might have enjoyed outside of football, you might have enjoyed while you were doing it is out the window. And that's just the way it is. And, we've got to fight our butts off and get back and do whatever we have to do, to win a football game.
Coach Hackett said earlier this week regarding Blake Bortles that there's a fine line between protecting the football and not being aggressive enough against the Steelers. What do you want to see out of him this week?
When it's there, you got to take it. You know, I mean, that's all I expect from a player. I think that if you practice something during the week, and for any player, and you call a play, and the first read's open, or the second read's open, you expect to capitalize and be efficient on that. I think it's simple to understand that if the protection breaks down for the quarterback, or the blocking breaks down for the running back, no different than with the running back. Hey, listen, whatever's blocked, let's go get that, and then, hey, let's see what you can do to get more. Same with defensively. I mean, you got great coverage. Your guy goes up and makes a great play. You tip your hat off and let's go. So I think a lot of times it's, what's there, take it. And if you have a chance of a DB breaks on a ball real well, gets a really good break on a ball, and he has a chance to intercept it, yeah, you expect him to intercept it. So I think, when you look at things, you look at putting guys in position, you look at the calls, and then when the opportunity's there, to do your job and be an efficient player. And, the great play is going to come, in all three phases for either team. You just got to make sure it doesn't, for you it's going to be a difference maker, and for the other team, it's not going to make a difference.
Did you like what you saw out of Fournette in terms of, it looked like he was a step more confident in the hamstring coming back, all that behind him? It looked more like Leonard Fournette last week than it did his first game back.
Yeah, I think, and I said that before, I think, obviously when someone comes back from injury, everyone's expectation is for them to be exactly where they were before. I always think that's tough because you haven't practiced, you haven't been out there, and he missed quite a bit of time. So the first game getting back there, you got to say, okay, you just got to see how it is, and just say, okay, he hasn't been out there, and you're going to get a better, or you hope to get a better job the next week. Right. And then, Leonard came back, and I thought he played really well. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, that's like you said, then you're looking at it and say, okay, all right, here we go. Right. So, I think he's in good stride right now. And that's not easy to do either, what he did, to come back that quickly, in the second week and be able to show that. He's had really good last two games for us. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's been over 100 yards for each game production-wise, passing and throwing. I think he had 2 touchdowns the first week he played. He had a touchdown the other day. So I think, everyone sees how important part of the offense he is for us.
I was going to ask you about someone on the Bills, but John and I have talked all week about rare is the guy, the cornerback that can control the tempo of the game like Jalen Ramsey did last week. You generally don't see a corner dominate a game. Where does that performance fit?
Yeah, I mean,
he was terrific.
Yeah, he absolutely was, and under some tough circumstances. I think he did a really good job of, staying focused. I think it's a lot easier said than being done. The stuff before the game, and he went out there, and he was coming off a tough game. And he said it himself. So, I think people maybe that are on the outside can't appreciate how great of a competitor he is. But knowing that he was coming off a tough game, me personally, once I felt he was focused, I wasn't surprised of him being able to perform that well. And what gave him an opportunity was he was performing against a top player at that position. If he's not playing against a top player at that position, they probably stay away from him. What I'm saying? The whole game. So, I wasn't surprised of the performance, but I was happy for him to get back on track coming off, even what he said was a tough game for him.
Bills had 2 first-round picks. Everyone knows Josh Allen, the quarterback. He's gotten most of the attention. But the middle linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds, on the other side, every time I saw the Bills playing this week on the tape that was running in the locker room, you saw number 49 making plays. That guy looks like he's going to be one hell of a football player.
Yeah, and he's young. I mean, he's so young. I mean, he's a guy that, if he stays healthy, he can play for a long period of time. I think that he has everything that you want. He has, great range. He has really good instinct.
He's big. He's 6'5", 250.
Oh, yeah. He's around the football. His dad, Farrell Edmonds, I was with in Miami, who was an outstanding player and another guy that can run. So
played a long time, too.
Yeah, played a long time. And now you see, his son, and it's the same characteristics. I mean, big, strong, can run. Has he's tough. He's good in coverage. He can play man-to-man because he can run, and he's a big guy. He can rush the passer. He could do a lot of things, and I think he was, probably the top prospect coming out, as a linebacker that can really have multiple use.
Every place in the league has a unique quality. What is it about Buffalo that makes it such a great atmosphere for the Bills and their fans? What did you think?
I think it's when you go there, when you're going to the stadium on a Thursday, and it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, and there's you just see all the Winnebagos and stuff lined up, trying to get into the parking lot. And then, Friday night you leave and there's fires going and people, it's crazy. It literally is. They have and the weather is not an issue, for those fans. The Bills Mafia it's crazy. I think when I'm not saying that just because I coached there.
Right.
You got to remember I was with the Jets when we went up there, and we used to go up there to win football games, obviously, and that was our goal. But as soon as we won the game, we were like, "Oh shit, we gotta leave the park. How are we gonna get out of the parking lot?" Yeah. Because we would be in the buses leaving the parking lot, and we would just get pelted with snowballs, and it was like crack the windshield. It was crazy. So it was like, hey, let's just take our time. Maybe everyone will get out of there, before we can go. But I think of it from that perspective. I think of the fans, and then growing up, with the great teams that they had. When Jim Kelly was there, Marv Levy, Bill Polian. I think those teams we all grew up with, that run of 4 years, which was really difficult to do. So, I think those things. But like I said, I'm going. It's so different. Like you asked that question now, but that'll be the furthest thing from my mind, when I get on a plane and land.
Right.
We don't think about anything except trying to win a football game because, the worst part is when, for me, the worst part is from when you land to when that ball's kicked off. You just, for me, if I can land, get off a plane, put on my coaching stuff and go coach, I'd be happy as hell. Now the players, probably not. But as a coach, I think that's what you want to get done.
All right. Well, as we wrap it up, we had a big group going to the Anchor Bar. You've kind of divided us. I guess you recommended Duff's as the place
I've
to
been
go.
getting questions all week. Like, I'm not, I'm more of a red meat type guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, I like, I don't like to have to work a lot of times for
the food. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but for me, so everyone's been asking me, and I just told them, I said, look, I don't really know. It's not like I wouldn't consider myself an expert in that deal, but I know that when I lived there, most of the local people went to Duff. So when people usually ask me, I just tell them Duff.
You sold Joe. He's going there.
Yeah, he's going. All right. There we go.
All right.
Joe's easy. Thanks, Coach.
Great. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Coffee with the Coach, and we're back after this on Jags Drive Time on a Friday morning, brought to you by the Fields Auto Group.
Jaguars fans, Ashlyn Home Store is where you'll find the perfect Tempur-Pedic mattress to power your life. As the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in America and the official furniture and mattress store of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ashlyn Home Store offers Jaguars fans special pricing and 72 months no-interest financing. Just tell them the Jaguars sent you. Plus, a portion of every mattress sold helps provide free beds to local children in need. Shop for Tempur-Pedic at Ashlyn Home Store today and go Jaguars. Subject to credit approval. See store for details.
At ViStar, we believe in better. Better convenience, so members can bank any way they want. Whether it's at a branch, on a mobile device, or at one of more than 20,000 fee-free ATMs across North America. We believe that people have better things to do with their time. If you believe that convenience is better, join ViStar. We never forget that it's your money. All loans subject to approval, insured by NCUA.
When you hear, think Duval Motor Company, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Since 1916, Duval Motor Company has proudly served Northeast Florida, offering the latest products and services with hometown hospitality. Visit Duval Ford and Duval Honda on Cassett Avenue, Duval Acura on Atlantic Boulevard, and Subaru of Gainesville to learn more.
Welcome back, Jags Drive Time, brought to you by the folks at the Fields Auto Group. Ryan Sexton, Ashlyn, Sullivan, John Oehser. Thanks to head coach Doug Marrone for joining us. Talking about Duff's versus the Anchor Bar. By the way, he isn't the only one. When Mike Mularkey was the head coach here back in 2012, we went to Buffalo, and he said Duff's. But I want to go to the Anchor Bar because I want the pizza, if you can believe it or not. The pizza there is worth
It's good pizza.
It's really good pizza.
He mentioned he doesn't like to work for his food.
I'm guessing you don't either.
No, I said I don't mind working as long as I have to pay. So that's.
And we should point out that you will be given an envelope with some cash in it. Yeah. You'll be given an envelope with some cash in it for your per diem, and you don't even like to spend that.
Easy in, tough out.
Fair.
You were shameless. All right, let's do a little he will, he won't, he might post-Thanksgiving edition. John. He's forgotten who he picked.
Oh, Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
He will be a factor, and I think he will get more carries than the 80 got last week because he's earned it. And when Nate Hackett talked about the end of the game, the last 4 series this week, he talked about Hyde didn't get any carries even though he'd played well, so it was a question. And he said basically they didn't get any first downs, so Fournette was the first guy into the rotation. Had they gotten first downs, you would have seen Hyde. My guess is he won't be subjected or part of that kind of rotation. I think the rotation would be different. You might see Hyde as the first guy in, not on every series, but more of a 2 to 3 Fournette first guy in, and then run Hyde one, because I think he's earned that, and he showed that he can run with that kind of power. He might, I'm not going to say he gets 100 yards, but he might be the guy whose performance outside of Fournette's makes a difference. It almost was last week.
Yeah.
He provided a real push, boost, whatever it were. And then I think he showed why the Jaguars made the trade for him. I've gotten some emails about him being a wasted trade, a wasted pick. Why did they do that? They're not going to make the playoffs. Why would you trade for this guy?
The next 2 years, he's under contract.
Right. And I think that is important considering Fournette's injury history, Hyde's level of talent. My guess is as they get more accustomed to what he can do,
right,
that his role will steadily increase and it will be viewed as a better trade.
Well, think about it this way. TJ Yeldon is a free agent, and this is not a position, especially with the team that and the salary cap that the Jaguars are facing next year. They're not going to pay him. You
right.
can't pay him.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Grant, same thing. Even if he wasn't injured, he was playing on the 1-year, $2 million tender. You figure he'll be somewhere else as well. So now what you've done is spend a 5th-round pick on a running back, a proven veteran running back, who you have here this year, so that next year you're replacing those 2 guys. I don't think it was a good move. I think it was a terrific move.
Mm-hmm.
Very shrewd of them to get a guy who will play your system this year and then step in and replace both of those guys next year.
And for quote, only a 5th-round pick.
Yeah.
Now you're paying him a little more than is ideal for your backup running back.
That's true.
But I don't anticipate this team completely changing, wanting to be a run-oriented team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think, before people go overboard, that I do think they're going to continue to try to improve the passing game. But I don't think you're going to see them completely abandon the run concept. So having 2 in this league is a necessity these days.
Yeah, especially for this team.
I will just say this one more time. The Rams want to run the ball with Gurley to set up everything they do. They are terrific in the passing game. The Jaguars can stay with this mentality and get better in the passing game, and it will change dramatically. They don't have to become Kansas City and go and find, you want to find a Tyreek Hill if you can, but go and redo their roster entirely and go 4 wides every time.
Right.
They can still be as effective as the Rams, who scored 54 points the other night, if they can run the ball and have a quarterback throwing the ball more efficiently down the field.
And even if they wanted to do that, Brian, it's going to take more than a year to do that.
There's no doubt.
So
there's no doubt. Okay, young lady, what do you got?
My he will, he won't, he might is Yannick Ngakoue. I think he will have a big game. Bill's offensive line is banged up, and we know this pass rush isn't what it has been in the past. It was last year But especially when you're going up against Josh Allen, that rookie quarterback, I think Unique is going to go up really well against him. He won't lack intensity. He hasn't lacked intensity this entire year, despite the record. Last week against the Steelers, he was amped up on the sidelines. He's been amped up every single week. Losing hasn't gotten to him, the intensity level. He might have multiple sacks this week. Not a big deal, but I called it last week with the Barry Church interception. I'm calling it again.
So Unique is grateful to be on your list today.
Yes, Unique. I got you. Multiple sacks this week.
You know what he could get this week, which he hasn't gotten all season, is that strip sack, of which he had 6 last year.
Right.
And that's what's really frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what he considers himself. That's what he is. It's what makes him special. And that's what he hasn't been able to get. And again, I'm a broken record on this. Major reason he hasn't gotten it is those come typically when you have leads. He got a couple last year when he didn't have a lead, and that was special. But usually those come when you're trying to protect the lead. You know the other guys to throw. You're coming from the blind side, and you get the ball out. I think against a rookie quarterback, this is the week he gets it.
All right, and mine is A.J. Boye, and he will come up with his best game of the season because he and Jalen are so incredibly competitive. Now, he can't dominate a game like Jalen can, but man, can he make plays. And against a rookie quarterback in Josh Allen, and he'll see Zay Jones, who he matches up with pretty darn well, he will have a terrific game. That might not be an interception. It might be passes deflected, tip balls, whatever you want to say. But I think he'll have a really, really impactful game. He won't dominate the game, like I just said, the way that Jalen did last week, because Jalen has that unique blend of size and length and speed and leaping ability. AJ's a terrific athlete. And look at the guy with his shirt off in the locker room. I mean, the guy's just cut. He's built. I'm not taking anything away from him, but Jalen has that freak body style with the long arms and the broad shoulders. AJ won't necessarily have that kind of an impact on the game, but he might get a defensive touchdown, which we have not seen since week 1. He might be the guy that breaks that logjam because last week he dove at a couple passes. He was close to interceptions last week. Was mad at himself for not pulling it in. When most people would say, hey, that's a great play. I mean, there's no way you're going to pull that ball in. He said he should have gotten it. He might be the guy who breaks the long string without a defensive touchdown this week.
Yeah, there was one late that he thought he should have gotten there, and because it could ice the game, and he was disappointed in that. Credit to him, for having, I think he gave up the one to Smith-Schuster on the big play, but those happen in the NFL. He was coming off an injury and had a very good game against a very good passing team. And I say he's not Ramsey. Look, A.J. Boye is a very good cornerback for a human being.
You bet.
Jalen's not human.
No. You're right.
I mean,
they're different categories.
Well,
he's a generational talent who, when you look at him physically, everything about him physically tells you he should be playing safety.
Without a doubt.
But he is freakish enough athletically to play cornerback in what could be a linebacker's body, but is really a safety's body. That doesn't happen.
Well, and the suddenness that he possesses, which is not something that you time on a clock, but the way that he can turn and change direction and make a play where it didn't appear a play was there to be made, is what makes him freakishly good. Right. That's a skill set that comes with your body, not right. It's probably not the right way to put it, but nothing against A.J. Boye. He is as good a cornerback as you could possibly ask for, who is not
in the category of Jalen.
Superhero.
And I know this was AJ's segment, but one thing about Jalen that I may have told this story on Drive Time before, at the Pro Bowl last year, which is the best players in the league. They stand around in groups, basically. I was on the sidelines, and you noticed that Jalen was standing with the other cornerbacks. And there was a difference in height. I don't say I have a helmet, but he
Pretty
looked
close.
like he was from a different position group
Standing
there.
with them.
Every other cornerback was normal size NFL corner. And that's when it struck you of, this kid's different.
Yeah.
This is a different thing that may not come along for another 20, 25 years. So,
well, and
he's
take it back to Boye real quick. You started this last thought with, I know this segment is about AJ, and started talking about Jalen. That's why I think he'll have a big game this week. Because Boye, as much as he likes and respects Jalen, wants to stand out on his own.
Yeah, he wants to be talked about too.
That will drive him, and I think he's going to have a big game on Sunday. Okay, before we end this segment and come back with the Did You See This? Pick one game and pick it. And John, you've got the Colts and the Dolphins.
Yeah, and this didn't look a month ago like a game that was going to be this. This is it's too early to say that it's a knockout game, but they're both 5-5. I'm so excited I'm coughing. My guess is the Colts win it, and that would be their 5th straight.
Yes.
How lucky are the Jags to be in a position where you've got a team that's won 7 straight, or in a division, with a team that's won 7 straight and a team that's going to have won 5 straight. That's awesome for them.
And a team you get a shot at a week after this.
Yeah. I think the Colts are going to win this. I think they're back. I think they're on the roll. And it feels like the Dolphins are headed to 7-9, 8-8. But it's not a knockout game technically, but it's a knockout game in fact because there's those 5 teams at 5-5, and the teams that start losing those are going to be out of it, obviously.
Yeah. I agree with the Colts because they just seem like they've been on a roll lately. They have a lot of momentum going. They seem excited about their franchise, that fan base. And it's true, you have those 5 teams at 5-5. Obviously, one's going to have to lose. There's a lot going on with those 5 teams.
I wouldn't have agreed with the Colts based on the fact that the Jaguars blew it at the end. I would have thought that they were still a little bit shaky, although their offensive line is terrific, and we know what Andrew Luck is showing us. But what they did last week to Tennessee, which was a team that was kind of surging, we didn't expect that the Titans were going to come out of their bye week and go to Dallas and win and pummel. I mean, they really beat up the Patriots. And then the Colts did that to them. I'm with you.
Right.
The Colts are back. Okay, you.
Tennessee and Houston. Big game. AFC South. Texans on a 7-game winning streak. Titans can close the gap a little bit in the AFC South, not by much with a win. I think a big thing here is Mariota limited to individual work on Wednesday. He's injured, not sure how much he's going to be productive on Sunday. I think the Texans continue to get it done. It's a franchise record, 8 wins. If they win, I think they get it done.
Playing so well right now.
I can't see how they could lose.
In all phases of the game.
And this might end the division if they win it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
So, something tells me the Titans get it. Okay. And I don't think they're as good as the Texans, but sometimes odds start mounting up, and it's tough to keep a winning streak like this going. And sometimes when you just don't expect it happens. So, just to be sort of, I don't know, irritating to both you guys, I'm going to pick the Titans.
Okay. I went out of conference because the primetime game on Thursday night between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, the Seahawks and the Packers, was so good that watching those 2 quarterbacks, this one interests me because it's a rematch of a playoff game a couple of years ago, and you've got Seattle coming across the country, and you've got, obviously, Russell Wilson against Cam Newton, and a Panthers team that was really playing well until they ran into the Steelers and gave up 51 points. And then last week, lost in Detroit to a Lions team that's not playing all that well. I think what you've got is a desperate team. Their quarterback is capable of putting up a big number. I like this battle. Seattle's defense has played better than a lot of people thought they would since they were retooling this year, and they've got Cam Newton they've got to stop. The Panthers have a lot of talent on defense. They've got to deal with Russell Wilson and that running game that Seattle has had the last couple of weeks. I think it'll be a fun game. Looking forward to it.
Well, it feels like a playoff game.
Yeah.
Because Seattle, if they win this, they have the right to think they're back.
Yeah.
If they even win away, and you're right. For the first 9 weeks of the season, Carolina looked like a team that you had to keep an eye on. That everybody was talking about these high-power teams in the NFC. Carolina looked for a while like a team that could maybe get in there and do it differently. They've struggled recently because it's in Carolina. I think Carolina wins it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with Carolina because they were so much in the storyline before those 2 losses against the Steelers and the Lions, and I think they're so used to being in the storyline they get back this week.
I just have a feeling about Seattle. I think Pete Carroll has done a terrific job with a team that no one was quite sure of what they would be, and coming across the country like that is. I mean, look, Seattle is a long way from everywhere. It's a long flight from Los Angeles to Seattle. We made it a couple years ago. I'm telling you, I just have a feeling about the Seahawks team that they've got a little magic going. So I'll go with the Seahawks on that one. And we'll take our final break. When we come back, did you see this? We'll wrap up a Friday morning post-Thanksgiving edition of Jags Drive Time As always, brought to you by the folks at the Fields Auto Group.
Jaguars fans, Ashlyn Home Store is where you'll find the perfect Tempur-Pedic mattress to power your life. As the #1 Tempur-Pedic retailer in America and the official furniture and mattress store of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Ashley Home Store offers Jaguars fans special pricing and 72 months no-interest financing. Just tell them the Jaguars sent you. Plus, a portion of every mattress sold helps provide free beds to local children in need. Shop for Tempur-Pedic at Ashley Home Store today and go Jaguars. Subject to credit approval. See store for details.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. I've been doing this for 20 years, but success doesn't happen in a vacuum. Thank you for helping me move this thing along. You helped me get this thing going in the early days by telling 20 of your closest friends about Tito's. They told 20 more, and it kept growing from there. We wouldn't be where we are today without your support. Thank you very much. Go to Tito'sVodka.com and pick up some Tito's gear. All proceeds benefit our charity partners. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
You can step up to luxury now.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. Whatever you're driving, you can step up to luxury now. Plus, get our Fields amenities, which include complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes.
Make this your year to step up to luxury at Fields Cadillac, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Land Rover, Jaguar, and Lexus. When it comes to the ultimate car buying experience, there's only one name that matters: Fields. And Fields matters because you matter. The Fields Auto Group, proud partners of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Don't forget our drive time poll, folks, on Twitter. How you feeling today after all that food? There's no happy hour this afternoon, so the poll kind of ends and dies with us here today. But we didn't answer it. How are you?
I feel good. Apparently John does too.
Me too.
I feel awful. I haven't checked the app, but I'm sure.
How long have you had that hat?
I'm sure. It's been a while, but the hat reflects my mood. It's crushed. There's a lot of wrinkles in it, which I'm getting to.
And this still all has to do with Sherry's shopping.
I haven't had a chance to check the app yet, but
I think it's best you.
I can sort of feel it. I have a sense of these things, and I'm sure like 87, 88 was just spent somewhere in
Target probably
on nothing, or on nothing that will benefit me. So
more importantly,
much more important.
More importantly,
a moment of incredible candidness.
Actually, I was thinking this morning. I just said something last night about like some sort of crock pot, like a crock pot, long, a broiler thing
for someone else. Benefit you?
Yeah, well, no, for us, but
that's going to benefit you because there's going to be food in the crock pot.
Am I really going to enjoy that much?
You don't even know what.
No, I mean it's fine.
Okay,
it'll happen. I'll become comfortably numb.
You let Sherry do her thing.
Oh, well,
she deals with you every day. She deserves a crock pot.
Yeah, she doesn't have one of these cool hats.
Joe, jump in here and save us.
You know what's funny? You can't see this the way I'm looking at it, but where Johnny's sitting, it looks like the cat head is jumping out of his hat, and it's really cool.
That's perfect.
I'm
sure
nice.
John pictured that.
Joe did a lot of drugs back in the 70s.
Yeah. 70s were a strange time, Johnny.
All right, so how about you? You clearly had the best. Did you see this last week? The Cat and the Rat?
I think. Well, for some reason, I wanted to have a Thanksgiving. By the way, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I wanted to kind of have a Thanksgiving theme here, but unfortunately, there's a cat involved here. And Stone Cold, before you roll on this, I want to explain. There's a dead cat in this. Okay.
Oh, come on.
You're going to see a deceased cat.
All right, let's see it.
But there are some turkeys with this cat. Now, before you think this is some kind of strange turkey ritual.
Are they turkey vultures?
Do you know that the people at UC Davis actually have turkey experts? Now, they say this video shows the fact that turkeys are just really stupid. One turkey, probably in their minds, saw this cat, didn't know if it was a threat or not, and decided to circle it. The rest of it, all they care about is following the tail in front of it. So they all got behind each other. And once the circle completed, the original turkey, who was worried about the cat, is now just following the turkey in front of it. So these poor guys are in some little turkey vortex.
How does this end?
Until somebody comes by, a car comes by and either blows the horn and scares them or whatever. But all they're doing is just following the turkey in front of them. There's nothing.
Where was this taken with all those wild turkeys that were so bold?
I have no idea.
It was clearly not hunting season.
I have no idea.
You just
But if you
ruined my
notice
day.
in that video, there's a picture of a slow down sign, and obviously somebody didn't heed that. So,
which is why the cat's dead.
Which is why the cat's gone.
What's
Thanks a
awesome is
lot.
the next scene is Loggeman just picking them all.
one by one.
Right.
Yeah.
Blowing them all away. All right, John. Thank you, Joe.
No, thank you for the
Once-
opportunity.
Once again, you dazzle us. That's what
You're
Hey Joe is
easily
all
dazzled.
about. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. John.
John, did you see this?
Well, mine's short and sweet. I've never actually, I'm embarrassed to admit, I've never actually gone to the Pete's Bar celebration at the beach. You may have, Brian.
No, I live there and I don't go.
But it makes me feel warm and comfortable that this still exists.
It does still exist.
It's a fantastic tradition. And it's Pete's Bar's annual Thanksgiving morning tradition.
Debauchery. Yeah.
And my goal is to get there in the next few years.
Okay,
So
well, you see,
I think it's terrific.
there's people with the race bibs on for the Beach's turkey trot that was yesterday
Right.
that came up my street. And so there were people drinking before they ran.
Fantastic.
And while they ran.
Right.
Terrible.
And after they ran.
Yeah, it's
And
it's
there's
a
lots
cool
of people that
tradition.
just go, yeah, it is a cool
and
tradition.
You live there. It's one reason I wanted to bring it. Wasn't there a movement a couple years ago to stop it?
Yeah.
And it
to
just
stop
sort of...
It was a couple of people,
Right.
that sit on the city council in Atlantic Beach and Neptune Beach. It's primarily in Neptune Beach, but it spills over. That's the corner area. You know it.
Yeah, good place.
That spills over, and there was a little movement, and the people won.
Good.
You know what?
That's what
it's
I like.
government for the people, of the people,
Right.
by the people, and so Pete's Bar exists because of that.
Now, I should clarify.
That Thanksgiving
I've spent
Day
some time in
celebration.
my day at Pete's Bar in the evening.
Right.
I'm not saying I've never,
But in the morning.
It's a fantastic little area. Slider's favorite restaurant across the street. So cool that still exists. And I don't know if anybody got the video. Do we have the turkey shot or no? Did that make it?
Yes.
Okay.
You have your turkey picture.
Just to make sure this is out there, Gene Fournette's turkey from 5 years ago. I don't like to have Thanksgiving pass without significant acknowledgement of this. So there's that. Ashlyn, you're next.
That's what's wrong with social media. I don't need to see your turkey.
It's
Ashlyn,
fantastic.
please don't show me that.
I won't. I have something much, much more important.
Oh,
If you were watching the NFL games yesterday, you saw the premiere of the new Lion King coming out in July. It's low-key, the recreation of my childhood. It's highly important. It's going to be awesome. New animation, same story. Doesn't get better than that, John. Doesn't get better than that.
Was that one of your Disney go-tos, Lion King?
Yeah.
Okay. That was one of my sons too, Jake. I mean, it was of that era.
I feel like I'm old now that they're recreating a childhood movie of mine.
You're
You
not.
feel
Is
correctly.
this where it starts?
But you will
Yes.
be. Yes.
That's where it starts.
Yeah. Mine is real simple. Throw it up there, Stone Cold. What is that? Do you know?
Money.
Cash money, baby.
But do you know what it's in?
Cash money, baby.
In the Netherlands, the Dutch police, I know how big you are on the Dutch.
Yes.
The Dutch
Don't get 'em
police
started.
pulled over a truck, and that is a washing machine filled with 350,000 euros, about $400,000. They
Money.
arrested the man. What do you think they charged him with?
Laundering.
Money line.
Money laundering.
How
about
You
that?
can't make this stuff up.
That's comedy.
Did you see this? And that ends our show. Headed for Buffalo. Here we go to Buffalo. The hat might make it.
Uh-oh.
The three of us will be there.
Wardrobe
Moving
change.
on to
Joe and Stone Cold. The man of many hats. And I still don't know what that word means.